Tiny Tina's Wonderlands has a lot, and I mean a lot, of gameplay and quality of life changes. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. As you might know, Borderlands 3 brought us some good vendor changes. Some of those are clicking a button to buy all your HP back or get all your ammo back by just looking at a vendor. In Wonderlands, you can now sell all of your junk with the click of a button by looking at a vendor. Just mark your item as trash, walk up to the vendor, and press the button and get your gold. Speaking of vendors, they will get better and better as you level up. So as you level up, you're going to notice that vendors are getting better and better in quality. For the third one, you can constantly swing your melee weapon. In all of the previous games, if you clicked melee, you could only swing once, but now you can hold down the melee button and swing over and over as much as you want. Cryo Penalty has been heavily reduced. If you're familiar with Borderlands 3 or even the pre-sequel, if you were cryoed, you could not see anything on your screen and you would move very, very slow. This time around, the screen is not going to be completely frozen to where you can't see, and you gain your movement speed back much faster. This one is actually a nice audible change, but now the cooldown for your action skills and spells will have a sound play. You won't even have to look into the corner to see if you got your action skill back, you can just listen for the sound of play. For the next one, spells can be used in Fight for Your Life. This will not be a skill you have to invest into or a character-specific trait. This applies for any character in the game. If you're in Fight for Your Life and need a second win, cast a spell. For number 7, this one kind of surprised me, and it's actually a very nice quality of life feature. You can now open all containers with a melee, slide, or slam. This will go for ammo boxes, money crates, loot chest, anything like that. Now, it might not seem like a big deal, but it does actually add a lot to the game. When you're in the middle of combat and need some ammo, you can just slide into a box and turn around, keep shooting the target, and pretty much never break your line of sight. The ammo will automatically be picked up like it does in Borderlands 3, and in case you're wondering, yes, you can still open it using the interact button, and no, you cannot shoot the boxes to open them from range. You might have seen it in the last clip, but yes, you can slam from any height now. This was a Guardian rank perk back in Borderlands 3, but now you can slam anytime and anywhere, including flat ground. Health barrels, yes, if you saw the previous trailers you might have seen them in the background. These things are exactly as they sound. If you stand near one and blow it up, you will get HP back, as well as the barrel will drop health vials on the floor for extra healing. Now, I did try to hit one into an enemy to see if it would heal them, but surprisingly nothing happens. I wasn't able to test co-op, but I'm assuming you can shoot one and heal your friends with it too. Also with the barrels, you can shoot them once when they're airborne to blow them up. Back in Borderlands 3, these things took multiple shots, and most of the time you couldn't land it at the right time to hit the enemy. I assume the developers wanted to make it easier to use in combat, so that's why they made it a one-shot. Keep in mind that if they are on the ground and not airborne, they will take multiple shots to blow up. Also, they made 3 ways to deliver the barrels. If you slam a barrel, it will go up really high, but not very far. If you slide into a barrel, it will go low and go a good distance. And if you melee a barrel, you will get average height and distance. Next up, loot will always be on your level or higher. So if you open a chest or look into a vendor, kill an enemy and get a drop, that loot will always be within your level or a little bit higher. So if you are level 9, you should not be seeing level 8 or 7 or anything like that dropping at all. This one is actually a pretty big change, and it's probably for the better. You can equip any armor in the game. Now if you haven't heard, the armor is like the class mods from the previous games. It's something you equip to your player and get bonuses. Some of them will increase your class power or give you more skill points into a skill, and also have passives like reload speed, max HP, stuff like that. So basically, you could be playing as the Graveborn and get a Stabomancer armor drop, and even though you're not even part Stabomancer, you can still equip it and get the bonuses. Now keep in mind that you could equip it and get skill points that boost to nothing in your skill tree, but you can still get nice passives like reload speed or movement speed, stuff like that. For the next one, better difficulty. At any time in your gameplay, you can swap your difficulty between relaxed, balanced, and intense. This will give you a little bit better control of how hard you want your game to be. On top of that, if you select intense, you will get bonus drops too. One thing I do want to mention is the difficulty from early game that I experienced was quite different. It felt like a mix of Borderlands 2 and 3. The simpler combat was quite easy, and once you get to those tougher mini-bosses and bosses, they are actually a good challenge. For the next one, healing feels good in this game. Using some healing skills or spells or healing weapons, there was no one-click and get full HP button. That was a major problem back in Borderlands 2 and 3 because you could shoot one bullet and jump back up to full HP. In Wonderlands, your healing feels earned and very, very valuable. Now, I only got the experience early game, so I don't know how it's going to scale up when it comes to late game, but I will say from what I've seen, the numbers do seem heavily scaled back. So adding up everything I've seen so far, I do think that healing is going to be quite balanced for the end game. This one is a pretty small one, but nonetheless, it is a nice quality of life, and that is that you can equip 2 rings from the ground. If you're not familiar, all classes can equip 2 rings and it will give you small bonuses. And when you look at a ring on the ground, you can pick and choose which one you want to replace. You have two options. For number 16, this is not anything new, but it's something we had back in Borderlands 2 and 3. That is that enemies will respawn into your map after a short amount of time. I think back in Borderlands 2 and 3, it was like 20 minutes for enemies to respawn, but for Wonderlands, I do feel like they spawn a little bit faster. This was done as a way to make maps not feel empty if you stick around for a long time. Sadly, this will only apply for basic enemies and not for bosses, so you will still have to save quick farm if you do want to farm your bosses. This one is nice. Enemies will level up with you. If you're level 10, enemies will be level 10 or higher. If you're level 20, enemies will be level 20 and higher. That means you can always go back to the beginning of the game and farm the first boss if you want to, and you can farm them for on-level loot and get their dedicated drop anytime you want. That is pretty awesome. That is a pretty good change and will stop people from over-leveling and having no challenge at all. Man, there is so many changes that I don't even know if I can put them all in the video, so up next, cosmetics sell for a lot of money. Back in Borderlands 3, they only sold for $1 for whatever reason. In this game, they're going to be much more valuable and you can sell them for a lot more. Sadly though, there isn't duplicate protection, so if you do get a drop that you already have, it's just best to sell it for money. Keep in mind though that the economy has changed for the game, so gold is going to be much more valuable. And you're going to need to keep up on money if you're going to be buying these good items from vendors and stuff like that. Damage over time is back. In BL1, damage over time was amazing, in BL2 it sucked, in BL3 it was okay at times, and in this game, they made it much better. Now, setting your enemies on fire or electrocuting them is going to be much more important for your builds. For number 20, your friendlies will appear on your minimap as little white dots, but what is nice is this will work for Tediore drones too. In this clip, I'm chucking a normal Tediore, and you can see that the drones appear as a white dot. That will let me know where they are, and you can keep track of them. If you do have a pet such as the Demi-Lich or the Shroom, you can now ping your enemies and tell your pet what to lock onto. Now, I did test on the Tediore drones to see if they would focus on the enemy I pointed to, but it doesn't seem to work for them. Either way, really cool feature, and I think it's going to make pet builds much more functional. If you played Borderlands 3, then you know all about the Annoyed system. This feature does return to Wonderlands as a form called Enchantments. Now, before some of you guys freak out, the enchantments are way dialed back from BL3. So you're not going to see 100%, 200%, 300% bonus damage on your gun. This time around, the numbers are going to be much smaller, but will still give you a small bonus. Some examples of the enchantments in this game is you cast a spell and get some movement speed for a short time, or if your action skill ends, you get a small damage bonus. The big change for this game is that you will get enchantments early on, so once you reach level 15, enchantments will start appearing in your game. Again, the damage bonus from enchantments will be very low, and once you hit level 15, the drop chance is also extremely low. For me, I probably killed like hundreds of enemies, and I only saw one enchantment drop. Keep in mind though that it will scale depending on your level, so the higher level you are, the more frequent you will find enchantments. Basically, level 15 you rarely find them, 16 you find them a little bit more, 17 and so on, you're going to find them more and more. The drop chances will go up over time. As for the enchantments, they can appear on your guns, your melee weapon, your shield, your spells, and stuff like that. But a final one, legendaries seem to be rare again. Now, I probably put over 15-16 hours into this demo, and I only found 4 legendaries, 2 from bosses and 2 from random enemies. Now, I cannot confirm it yet because we only got to play the early game demo of Wonderlands, but yeah, from the looks of it, it is dialed back from what it was in BL3, and legendaries are rare again. Not only that, but the rarity tiers definitely feel different in this game. Starting out with your white rarity, they're, common, not that great, and then green gets a little bit better, but then when you get up to blue and purple, those weapons feel good, like they feel better than they did in BL3, and they feel meaningful, so I feel like that's kind of what they're aiming for in this game. If they nail the rarity balance in this game right, then things are going to definitely be a lot smoother. Now, I would like to show legendaries in the background for the gameplay footage, but we all made an agreement not to really spoil them just yet. However, I will say that legendaries do feel a lot more rare, and they definitely feel powerful too. The rarity tier balance is definitely there. Anyways, I think that's going to be it for all of the quality of life changes I noticed in my gameplay. Like I said before, there's so many small changes that I couldn't put them all into this video. Yeah, let me know below in the comments what you guys think about all these cool changes. And of course, if you guys did enjoy the video, then please be sure to leave a like because that'd be awesome. And if you guys really enjoyed it, be sure to sub. You guys have a great day, and I will see you all later. Peace out.